Hi guys, it's me. So I'm just making this video to popular demand, and by popular demand I mean a single person on my previous video asking what build I use for the boss. But I'm also going to include the fact that this is also a PvP build. It's kind of a jack of all trades. It was solely designed to be a PvP, but then actually kind of works pretty well as a bossing set, and also as a general PvP or PvE PvP mishmash. So it works both ways. It's pretty good in both sense, both in utility and in damage output, solo damage output, and also ease of use. There's no like specific combo or specific order you need to use the weapons in, or how you need to use them. They sort of just work off of each other regardless of what you do. There's an optimal way to use it, but you don't really need to. They sort of just like, either one's doing a lot of damage or the other's doing a lot of damage. So yeah, let's get into this. So we'll start off with the guns. So Wildfire is my go-to for the pistol. I'm going to be making another build soon, Unstable Bomber with the Jaws, but until I will get that soon, and then I will make that build. But for now, we'll stick with this. So the Wildfire. Tier 5, Tier 2, I only just got it. Well, actually, no, I got this Tier 2 a while ago. Not too hard if you save your blueprint shards. If you're not going to be using any of the blues or any of the purples that you get, you can feed it into other guns. You don't get like a bonus. If it's the same gun, you get double the experience for the weapon. But that's not a problem. So yeah, max calibration, tier 5, 2-star. I've got double. How do I show? Double the like Mastercraft effect on it. So double weak spot, both 11%, so 22% total. Obviously, this is a weak point build, so more weak point damage or weak spot damage, the better. So yeah, so how this weapon works, it's a support weapon. Support, so there is two types of weaponry in this game. There's support, and then there's gun. So weapon characteristics of a gun mean that as soon as you put that weapon away, that effect disappears with that weapon. Whereas support lingers past the point of where the weapon is put away and another is drawn, which means that another weapon can take advantage of the effect of that of that previous weapon, aka support. So Wildfire is a support weapon, same as the Bingo, I'll get into this later, is also a support weapon, which is why these two work so well together. So, reading through the stats. So hitting an enemy grants a 40% chance to trigger Bullseye. There is no cooldown on this, so you can consistently proc Bullseye without having to wait on cooldown, unlike recurve bow or other weapons that usually have a 10-second per target or person, depending on what you're playing with. So Bullseye marks and targets and imposes vulnerability. So it's basically a wall hack. It gives you walls on that specific target. Weak spot hits on enemies affected by the Bullseye grant 5% weapon damage for 10 seconds up to 4 stacks. So Bullseye on this weapon will last 10 seconds, and you can stack it up to 4 times for 20% extra 20% extra weapon damage. Non-weak spot hits on the enemies affected by Bullseye grants a 50% chance to trigger the Bullseye on one other enemy within 15 meters. If there are no enemies within the range, weapon damage is increased for 10 seconds. So not only is this weapon good for group fights, it also converts itself into a great dueling weapon for PvP. And also a great bossing weapon for PvE. If there's no ads about, obviously it's the only target, so it gets an extra 10% damage for 10 seconds for as long as that Bullseye stack is in effect. Obviously, on the boss, I had a bunch of the ads around, so I didn't get this, but honestly, it's just a nice thing to have. So consistent Bullseye proc without any cooldown. Wildfire, amazing gun, really high DPS, great weak spot, not so great crit rate and not so great crit damage, but again, you're not really going for that. Plus other parts of the equipment will make up for that lack in crit damage and also crit rate. Anyway, so onto the second gun, AWM Bingo, the gold. Probably the hardest one to get out of the two weapons, obviously, because this is a gacha game blueprint system, so it's all RNG. You can budget with the recurve bow, great weapon. Hitting weak spots grants you bullseye for 10 seconds, but there is a cooldown on it. Excuse me. So, straight into the stats. 2,963 damage. I just got this to 2-star, tier 5, full calibration, full weak spot, 120.8% weak spot damage. Absolute menace. I've hit 39k crit with this gun. It is an absolute demon. If anybody walks away from a headshot on this, they are either a HP build or a very fucking lucky motherfucker. That's what I'm gonna say. Again, so it's a support weapon. So, let's say you trigger, so we'll read through the weapon characteristics and then I'll go over the whole idea. So weak shot has a 70% chance of triggering bullseye. The first shot triggers the bullseye after you cut the gun. So basically, the moment you shoot the first round after switching to the weapon, the first round in the club, guaranteed to trigger bullseye. After shot, weak spot damage bonus by 15% for 10 seconds, stacks up to 3 times, massive DPS. 45% extra weak spot damage if you hit them 3 times. Not so great for PvP because the person will probably fucking dead by then. But, you know, if you're bossing, great way to get extra DPS out. It's just consecutive shots will give you more and more weak spot damage. After weak spot defeat, weapon damage plus 20% for 20 seconds. So this is a gain more on kill. So let's say there's ads in the vicinity. If you can ping them out, take them out, get an extra 20%, reload for 20 seconds, you have got that extra DPS. This gun hits like a bloody truck. So, the whole idea behind these two weapons, obviously they're both support weapons, so that means that you can switch between the two and keep the buffs for the duration that it has remaining on it. So, if you want to do some big damage on the bingo, obviously hit them with the wildfire, proc it, and then this is more for a PvE. So you want to mark with the wildfire, get the 4 stacks, and then use the bingo, because the bingo's stacks last a little bit less time, in terms of they'll be refreshed, so they'll last indefinitely. So you literally want to just go 1, 2, 3, 4 procs, switch to the bingo, start stacking up the bingo. By around about the 3rd shot, you have around about a couple seconds of left on the wildfire, so you can get maybe 4 shots off. And then it's just full stack 45%. So you can unless you're running extended mags, you can get through the entire mag before you run out of stacks on wildfire buff. Vice versa, AWM bingo. If you want to be in a PvP situation, open with the bingo. Body shots on the first shot will guarantee bullseye regardless if it's a weak spot shot or not, aka a headshot or not, and will mark the person, giving you wall hacks. It will give you an advantage. There is an item in the game that you can craft from the cradle. It basically gives you wall hacks on anybody in the vicinity, but that goes on cooldown and you can't use it constantly. Whereas with this, you can literally take a shot at the bingo, reload it, switch it away, start going at them with the wildfire. Extra DPS from the extra 15%. You don't need to go for the 2nd or 3rd stack. Honestly, it's kind of overkill. The wildfire will either 1-2 tap the person, maybe even 1 tap if you hit the good bingo shot and you get like a crit on the body or something like that. So really great. But both weapons basically work perfectly together. There is almost no flaw other than the fact that you have to be accurate with the wildfire. You have to hit your heads in PvP. Otherwise you're not going to be doing as much damage as you would have on other builds. But still, hitting heads in this game, I don't seem to have a problem with it. The aim assist is egregious. I've had certain bullets sort of do some Matrix Neo curving bullshit, and I'll be aiming one direction, I just see the bullet go off and hit an enemy in the fucking head over 90 degrees from me. So the aim assist is quite generous in this game. Or the bullet magnetism. Sorry, not aim assist. So, going on to the gear pieces. So, running a 4-piece Falcon. You can have a comfort gear piece of your choice. I just so happen to have rolling stamina cost reduced by 20%, which is great because the Falcon above 90%, over 90 stamina, when stamina's over 90, sorry, I get a damage, basically I just get a full stat buff, crit rate, crit damage, PSI intensity, all that great stuff. So, you know, anything above 90, it doesn't say 90%, so I'm assuming over the value of 90. And if you are a lightweight build or have extra stamina bar, that's even better for you because you've got over 100. Apologies, I'm sick. But yeah, so you have to have 4-piece Falcon, comfort piece, and then the key camo leather boots. Now, I didn't know about this until a friend of mine told me, but those boots honestly make the armor build perfect. Attacking enemies affected by bullseye grants 50% crit damage. Like, an extra 50% crit damage just for them being marked by bullseye, when both guns almost have a guaranteed chance to mark bullseye by the first or second shot. Absolutely insane. Like, absolutely ridiculous. It's just free crit damage on top of insane weak spot damage. Like, what's there not to like? But yeah, so that's the armor pieces. Pretty cut and simple. Front run Falcon for the extra stat boost, diverse stamina. Run whatever you want for the mask or like a glove or whatever you have. If you have like a comfort piece on over, you can switch it around as long as you have the boots free. But yeah, the boots are a must. You have to have these. They really do make up quite a bit of the DPS, more than you would think, even with the low crit rate of the weapons. But yeah, let's go into the mods. So, helmet, I'm going for Precise Strike. Hitting weak spots grants 15% extra damage for 3 seconds, up to 3 stacks. If you can get weapon damage and weak spot damage from the random attributes, amazing. You know, it's just like, again, I've only sadly got weapon damage. I was quite fortunate to get weapon damage, considering all the rest of the other ones that I had that were Precise Strike were absolutely dog. I got fisted. Pretty much in terms of what I could get from like farming the mods. So that's simple. For the mask, we want to be going for targeted strike. 25% on targets affected by 25% damage on targets affected by bullseye. Basically, it is what it is. 25% damage on targets affected by bullseye. It's just a free 25% essentially. There's no downside to it. I've got weapon damage and crit damage, very good. So I'm quite happy with that. If I could have got weak spot, I could have, but you know, weapon and crit damage, awesome. Plus reload speed bonus, like 3 out of 4. Excuse me. Anyway, onto the jacket. So as you can see, pretty much from the majority of these, I'm running weak spot damage boost blue mods, with weak spot damage on practically every single one at 9%. And magazine capacity, if you can get it, or whatever you want. Weapon damage reduction, you know, anything like that. They're just blue mods. Cheap as chips to upgrade. And honestly, they are the highest, like, percentage in the field for blue mods. Higher than crit damage, higher than crit rate, and higher in weapon damage. Like, weak spot damage is just king. 18% on a blue mod, I think, is crazy. I haven't been able to get the purple mods, which is like up to like 24% or something like that, which is even fucking more insane. But you know, until I get lucky getting some purple mods. But I've been running these mods since the get-go, and honestly, I haven't found anything better so far, just because of my luck. But that just proves how effective this build is, and it's not even properly done yet. It's not even finished. So yeah. So running weak spot on the chest, pants, and gloves, and on the and then on the gloves. Yeah. Oh, sorry. The weapon mods. So it's a bit like, what do you want to like? How you want to do it? So I'm running targeted takedown for the extra crit rate on targets affected by bullseye. 11% crit damage, and bullseye trigger chance 12%. So that 40% goes up to like 52%. So really, really good. There is another mod that I'm running on the bingo. I think it is objectively better on the bingo because in PvP, the combo is going to be shoot them with the bingo, mark them guaranteed, go with them, finish them off with the Hellfire. And that's why I'm running the Vulnerability Amplifier. Gives you 8% vulnerability to the bullseye. Basically just 8% debuff on everything. 8% on armor, 8% on any like statuses or anything like that. Just vulnerable. It doesn't sound like a lot, but believe me, it is a good 600 damage difference. Go from around about 1,400 on a body shot to around about 2,010 on a body shot. So the increase is pretty substantial, even for 8%. That armor reduction is French kit. Is like, you know, it's perfect. Excellent. Obviously, my stats, my random attributes, absolutely dog, apart from crit damage. And even then, it's kind of cope. You can run the crit rate if you don't have this. I only have one of this. Obviously, if you can get like better like weak spot damage or something like that, it might be better for you to go for one of these because these are the more common out of them all. But yeah, obviously I'm running this one because of the fact that the bullseye trigger chance is just too good to pass up. So yeah, that's the build. I wouldn't say it's easy to put together. The Falcon's gear set is pretty much universal. Camo leather boots also work pretty well with any bullseye weapon in the game. But I think that the Wildfire and the AWM Bingo just pair together perfectly. There is almost no downside to it apart from if you can't hit your shots, you're not going to do it. You're not going to do any damage. And if you do hit your shots, you're going to notice that you're going to be either 2-tapping or 1-tapping people with this build. Pretty much all ranges. As I said, hitting 39k to the head is no way of surviving that, even with like max weak spot reduction, with like full HP weak spot reduction. I don't think it makes a damn difference. For deviation, I would suggest the butterfly, just because the butterfly gives it an extra. I believe it's like 80%. I believe it is 80%. I don't want to give false info. Yeah, weak spot section for 8% of its weak spot damage for 15 seconds. It is just... and it just, it basically, after you throw it, it just goes into its auto attack setting, and it still chunks. And this thing, like, it's a vampire. It sticks to you. It sticks to people no matter where they go. I've been hit by it, survived it, healed, and then I'm getting chunked by it for another 3 seconds after. Absolutely ridiculous. So, yeah, that's the deviation I would suggest running. Either just throw it at them or just head it to auto attack if you're running away and just watch them panic because they're losing half their HP in 2 hits from it. It's ridiculous. Anyway, yeah, that's the build. Again, not so easy to set up, but you can use this as a base. Weak point damage is not just for bullseye. It is a very good stat in general, very high damaging stat. The only downside is that you're going to be missing quite a bit of HP. 7k HP when some people have, I don't know, 16k HP, 15k. I don't think that's actually scaled properly. So I might actually have more HP than it says there. That might just be general. But yeah. So, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see if I can keep the content going out. Anyway, peace.